I often feel guilty for simply enjoying mundane earthly activities, as if I should be meditating or reading scriptures instead. Is the enjoyment of material life compatible with spiritual practice as long as it is wholesome? And Yogananda would tell Roy and other students to banish the concept that there is a difference between this reality and spiritual realities. And Babaji also said that few people know that the kingdom of heaven is as much here as it is anywhere else. This brings up a good point, because 10 years ago, when I first got involved in Kriya Yoga, and I would think I had to meditate all the time, because you read about that in Autobiography of a Yogi, people meditating 8 hours a day or longer. So I had it in my head that I had to do that. And it started to become clear to me that that wasn't the case. When one day, about 3 years in, we used to live on 13 acres, and we would have bonfires every now and then, once a month during the summer. And that morning, Saturday, I was out, I was gathering wood, I was breaking up sticks to build this giant bonfire. And I kept thinking to myself, I've got all this free time, I should go in and I should be meditating more. And it was so intense that it started to make me anxious, like I was doing something wrong. And then what happened was, after that got so intense, I was walking through the field, and I bent down to break up some more sticks, and I just stopped. And I was aware of the sun, and I was aware of the light and the dew, and I was aware of the breeze, and I was aware of nature all around me. And all of a sudden, I just relaxed, and I thought, what am I doing? I've already meditated an hour today. I've already experienced peace. Why do I think I need to keep forcing myself into this, I just need to sit there and be quiet mode? And so that changed my whole outlook on this practice, and it moved from having to force yourself to sit there, which is good in the beginning at times, but after you're clear and after you're calm and after you're in a thought-free space, you don't have to keep making yourself sit there. So consider that you have to be somewhere in infinity, right? Roy told me that one time. You have to be somewhere in infinity, and you're going to be doing something no matter where you are, whether you're meditating, whether you're working, whether you're interacting with people. So as long as you've done your practice already, then just go about your day and let that be your work within this divine consciousness. And one other experience I had similar to this, so I work for myself. I have my own business, so I run errands and I talk to people and I write letters and I answer email and all these sorts of things. And again, I used to have this idea that I had to get all of that done so that I would have more time to meditate and more time to read scripture and more time to be with my teacher, all these sorts of things, more time to be on retreat. And then one day as I was driving, I think, to the bank, again, this sort of anxiety came up about, I should have had this done an hour ago. And I realized that I was wasting my life by thinking that I needed to be doing something else, when really I just needed to be doing what I was doing. And again, what happened was, when this realization came on, then driving to the bank became, an experience in the infinite consciousness. Answering emails became just what needed to be done. So remember, your spiritual practice, meditation, living a good life, that's setting the foundation, but it's not to be the thing that you are always focused on. You don't do it to do that. You do it so that you can live free in this infinity. It's just like exercise. You don't exercise to be exercising all the time. You do it so you can be strong and healthy and fit during the rest of your waking hours. This is a good one. Thanks. What is unconditional love? And we talk about this a lot, at least here. Unconditional love is simply feeling love for no reason, right? Sri Yukteswar, he said that human love is rooted in desires and human love is fickle, which means that once a certain set of parameters are met, that love is there, but if it's not met, then that love is not there. That is not divine love. Divine love is there no matter what, all the time, no matter what you're doing, no matter who you're with. And divine love doesn't mean, or unconditional love doesn't mean, that you always have to approve of other people's actions or situations that you're in, but it doesn't mean that you withhold love. So you're always having this sense of peace and of clarity wherever you are, and if you're in a situation or with a person that doesn't fit with what you want to feel within this life, what you want to experience within this life, you don't judge them, you just go somewhere else. Okay? And, this comes back to the idea that this spiritual consciousness is here everywhere. That's true. And someone asked Ramana Maharshi one time, well, if everything is God and if everything is the divine, then what's it really matter what I do or who I'm with? And Ramana Maharshi said something like, all water is the same element, but not all water is fit to drink. Okay? So remember that. Everything here is a divine infinite consciousness, but certain things are supportive of what you want to experience and certain things are not. So not judging, just deciding which one you want to have within your life. So really unconditional love, that's simply holding that state of love for no reason. And when you can do that, then no reason can take away your love. All right. Just imagine being so in a state of love, so in a state of peace like the masters, like all accomplished yogis are, that no matter what happens, you are always in that state of love. And then the more you can hold that state, then you attract more experiences which are supportive of that state. And there's a little lag time, because we have to remember that we have actions and thoughts and memories within us from our past. And those have power based on the amount of energy we've put in them. So if we decide right now we want to be in unconditional love, you can be there. But you will probably still experience situations, things that occur within life, which make you feel like, well, gee, I'm in divine love, why isn't this working out? It's not that it's not working out. What's happening is that you are exhausting that past force that you put into play. And if you can stay in that love and let things occur, let that karma exhaust itself, then eventually, yes, you just simply exist external and internal in that state. Okay, so don't think that it happens real easy right away. It just takes practice and staying there. So the next question. How do I integrate being a human as well as a spiritual being? Well, you're always a spiritual being, and sometimes you're human. Again, it goes back to that theme that everything is of a spiritual nature. And realize that in this experience, you are playing a role as a human. You were born to play a role as a human. The divine consciousness is playing that role through you, through your personality, through your likes, through your dislikes, through everyone around you. If you can start to see yourself not as a body, not as a personality, not as a mind, but as a witnessing presence, a clear divine consciousness that is expressing through the human self, then you get a sense of how you can always be in a state of spiritual consciousness. Okay, so remember, the masters, people who are awake and enlightened and clear, it's not that they don't have personalities, and it's not that they're not human. It's that they know the difference between this temporary manifestation and what they really are. And so when they meditate, they can pull back and they can exist clear, alert, serene, and whole. Good. And then when they go back into life, they realize, okay, I've got this shirt on, I've got these pants on, I have my ego suit on, and I interact appropriately in that way. The integration is more just accepting that understanding of the difference between what you are and what you're not. Okay? And that just takes wisdom, it just takes time. And it takes practice. You've been so attached to who you think you are for so long, it's hard to break away from that identification. And this is the other reason why liberation of consciousness, spiritual awakening, is being able to live a natural and spontaneous life contentedly. Identified with your personality and your body and your mind and your history, that means that you have to act in a certain set of parameters in order to support that false sense of self. Which means if you're in a situation where that's not useful, you're trying to maintain this sense of self, which is not useful to that particular time period, to that particular circumstance. And that's why masters, that's why people who are considered spiritually free, they're considered free because they're free to act appropriately in the moment. You see, that's a difference. They're not going to say, oh, well, I have this personality, and so I'm going to maintain, I'm going to be, very stern and strict all the time. I'm never going to cry, whatever it might be. And that might not be appropriate, or I'm always going to be nice, I'm always going to be loving, I'm always going to be kind. And that might not be appropriate in certain circumstances. So it's learning to know and feel what is appropriate. Is this consciousness working through you? Rather than saying, I have this idea of myself and I'm going to defend it, because then you're not free.